After 3 years of marriage, my husband wore a wedding ring every day, but he never touched me, until I accidentally discovered that the inside of the wedding ring was engraved with my sister's name. At this time, I took the ring and asked him in person, Fu Min, why is my sister's name engraved on your ring? His face changed for a moment. Fu Min took a step closer. Lin Yu. He only called me by name. There is no explanation. I looked at him. Are you marrying me because I look the same as her? He frowned. Not what you think. What is that? He fell silent again. I was suddenly very tired. It turned out that I had been waiting for 3 years, just waiting for a sentence that was not what you thought. Fu Min, you wear it every night. I said softly. You sleep next to me with a ring engraved with my sister's name on your hand. His Adam's apple moved. I can explain this. Then you explain. He looked at me with something complicated in his eyes, but he didn't say anything. I waited 10 seconds. 10 seconds later, I laughed. Look. You can't explain it. I put the ring back on the sink. The metal hit the marble countertop and made a very soft sound. That sound was like stamping our 3-year marriage. It's over. Fu Min looked at me and lowered his voice. It's too late tonight. We'll talk about it tomorrow. No need for tomorrow. I said, we're getting divorced. When I said this, I thought I would cry, but I didn't. I just feel very quiet in my heart. It's like a house has finally burned out. No fire. There is no smoke either. Only ash remains. Fu Min's eyes sank. Do you know what you're talking about? I know. The Lin family will not agree. I looked at him. So you also know that the Lin family will not agree. He didn't answer. The last bit of weakness in my heart disappeared at this moment. Of course he knows. He knew that the Lin family needed the Fu family. He knew that my parents sent me to the Fu family, not because they loved me. He also knew that I couldn't leave easily in the past 3 years, but he still asked me to keep such a marriage. He knows better than anyone that I'm trapped. I nodded slowly. Fu Min. You are more cruel than I thought. His face changed slightly. I turned around and walked out of the bathroom. In the cloakroom, I took out a small suitcase. In fact, there is not much to take away. Most of the things in this house were prepared by the Fu family. The clothes were bought by the stylist of the Fu family. The jewelry was given by the Fu family. Even the perfume I commonly use was arranged by Fu Min's assistant according to Mrs. Fu's identity. I lived here for 3 years and didn't have much that really me. I only took my ID, computer, a few simple clothes, and an old photo album. Fu Min stood at the door and looked at me. Are you leaving now? Yes. It's already 1 o'clock in the morning. I know. Lin Yu. Don't make trouble. I zipped my suitcase and looked up at him. I didn't make a fuss. He looked at me as if he didn't know me for the first time. Perhaps in his memory, Lin Yu has always been quiet. Lin Yu would not question. No quarrels. Will not resist. Will not drag the suitcase out of the Fu family late at night. But that's just me in the past. I dragged the box out. Fu Min stretched out his hand to stop me. His hand clasped my wrist. It was the rare time he too. Okay, the initiative to touch me in the past 3 years. His palms were hot. I only find it ironic. I looked down at his hand. Let go. He didn't let it go. You are emotionally unstable tonight. I raised my eyes. Fu Min. I found my sister's name engraved on my husband's wedding ring. I can still talk to you calmly now. It's very stable. His fingers tightened slightly. He'll take you to the hotel. No. Lin Yu. Fu Min. I interrupted him. From now on, you are not qualified to arrange for me. He was stunned. I pulled my hand back hard. This time, he didn't stop it again. When I walked downstairs, the servants in the house were awakened. The housekeeper stood at the staircase, his face embarrassed. Madam, it's so late. Where are you going? I said. I won't live here anymore. The housekeeper looked at Fu Min upstairs. Fu Min stood in the shadows and did not speak. I dragged my suitcase out of the door of the Fu family. The night wind blew on my face, and I realized that my palms were full of sweat. The driver chased me out and said he wanted to see me off. I refused. I called a car and got into the back seat. When the door closed, I saw Fu Min still standing at the door. He was wearing a black dressing gown and had no ring on his hand. This is the first time in 3 years that I have seen him without a wedding ring. I thought I would be soft-hearted, but no. As the car drove out, I turned my face out the window. The lights of the city passed by one. The phone rang. It was my mother who called. I stared at the screen for a few seconds and didn't answer. Soon, my father also called. I still didn't answer. Then came a text message. Are you crazy? Immediately return to Fu's house. Tomorrow the Fu family banquet. You must attend. I looked at the text message and suddenly smiled. It turned out that everyone knew that I should stay in the Fu family. No one cares why I left. I put my phone on silent. The car was parked downstairs in an old apartment building. This is the place I rented half a year ago. Fu Min. Didn't know. The Lin family didn't know either. I didn't want to escape today. I just don't want to endure it anymore today. The apartment is not big. 1 bedroom and 1 living room. White walls. Wooden floors. And a very narrow street can be seen from the window. I pushed the box against the wall and turned on the light. The lights are a little cold, but I think this place is more like home than the big house of the Fu family. I took a shower and sat on the edge of the bed. staring at my ring finger. There are also shallow marks left by the ring. It's been 3 years. I wear the ring that belongs to Mrs. Fu every day, but the real Mrs. Fu in Fu Min's heart has never been me. I closed my eyes and forced myself to sleep, but I can't sleep. When dawn broke, I received a message from Fu Min. Tomorrow's family banquet. I'll pick you up. I looked at the lines. I didn't ask him why he wanted me to attend. He didn't ask him for an explanation last night. I only replied with 2 words. No, it is not. The next evening, I still went to the Fu family's old house. Not for Fu Min. It's because I want to see with my own eyes why Lin Wei came back at this time. The old house of the Fu family is brightly lit. There are not many guests. They are all close elders of the Fu family and the Lin family. I wore a long black dress and light makeup. When I walked into the living room, everyone looked over. Fu Min stood by the window. He was wearing a dark suit and looked cold. On his ring finger, he put the wedding ring back on. I glanced at it and looked away. The Lin family's parents sat on the sofa. When my mother saw me, she immediately frowned. She came over, lowered her voice and said, "Where did you go last night?" Fu Min said, "You ran away from home." "Lin Yu, can you be sensible?" I looked at her. "Do you know that Lin Wei's name is engraved on his ring?" The mother's expression froze. At that moment, I understood everything. She knew. She always knew. My father also came over. His face ugly. "Today is a family banquet. Don't embarrass the Lin family." I asked him. Then what did I lose? Face or life? My father's eyes sank. "Lin Yu." I didn't speak anymore, because the sound of high heels came from the door of the living room. Everyone's eyes turned around. Lin Wei is back. She wore a long white dress with long hair draped over her shoulders. She looks a lot like me. Same eyes, the same bridge of the nose, the same lip shape, but we have been different since we were young. She will always be the one favored. She can cry, be willful, and make mistakes, and I must be sensible, quiet, and yield. When Lin Wei walked in, her eyes were slightly red. She glanced at Fu Min first, and then at me. "Little fish." Her voice was soft, as if afraid of alarming someone. "Long time no see." I didn't answer. She walked up to me and reached out to hug me. I took a step back. Her hand stopped in midair. The living room was quiet. The mother immediately whispered, "Lin Yu, your sister is not in good health. Don't embarrass her." I looked at Lin Wei. A hint of quick pride flashed in her eyes. Then she turned to look at Fu Min. "Fu Min, you have worked hard to take care of the little fish in the past few years." This sentence fell. The living room was quieter. She speaks like a real hostess. For example, I was just the person who was temporarily taken care of by Fu Min during her departure. I suddenly felt sick. I looked at Fu Min. He did not immediately refute. The last trace of anticipation in my heart was gone. I raised my hand and took off my wedding ring. Everyone saw it. Mother's face changed. "Lin Yu, what are you doing?" I put the ring on the coffee table. The voice is not high, but clear enough. "I'm going to divorce Fu Min." Lin Wei's eyes widened slightly, like surprise, but I saw the corners of her lips move. She was laughing. Fu Min finally spoke. "Lin Yu, don't say this here." I looked at him. "Then where do you want to say it?" "In your bedroom, when you sleep next to me wearing a ring with Lin Wei's name engraved on it." Everyone's faces changed. Mr. Fu looked up suddenly. "What ring?" Fu Min was silent. Lin Wei's face turned pale and she said softly, "Little fish, did you misunderstand?" I didn't misunderstand. I looked at her. "Your name is engraved on the inside of the ring. Lin Wei. Do you know?" Lin Wei's eyes immediately turned red. "I don't know, little fish. How can you ask me like this?" Her mother immediately protected her. "Lin Yu, your sister just came back. Why are you stimulating her like this?" I looked at my mother. "So you all know." Mother's lips moved. My father said coldly, "Enough. The Fu family and the Lin family are not places for you to mess around." I didn't mess around. I said, "I just don't want this marriage anymore." The father lowered his voice and his eyes were gloomy. "Lin Yu, if you dare to divorce, the Lin family will not recognize you." I laughed. "When did you really recognize me?" The mother's face was ugly. "It's too hurtful for you to say this. Hurt people." I looked at her. "Why didn't you think about hurting people when you married me to a man who had my sister in his heart?" No one spoke in the living room. Fu Min looked at me with deep eyes. I didn't look at him anymore. I turned and left. When she walked to the door, Lin Wei chased after her. "Little fish." Her voice was crying. I stopped. She approached me, her back to the living room, and the weakness on her face disappeared little by little. "Xiaoyu, why do you have to make such an ugly fuss?" I looked at her. "Because you guys are doing it ugly." She smiled, very light. "You are still the same as before. You can't choose the right time." I didn't speak. She approached me, her voice so low that only I could hear it. "You saw the ring, right?" My fingers tightened slightly. She continued, "That's right. I'm afraid you won't be able to see it all the time." I raised my eyes. She had a gentle smile on her face, but her eyes were as cold as ice. "What do you mean?" She said, "Xiaoyu, it's been 3 years. You occupy Mrs. Fu's position. It's time to give it back to me." My heart felt like it was pricked by a needle. Not because of pain. It's because I'm finally sure. The ring is not an accident. She did it on purpose. Lin Wei said softly, Don't blame me. Fu Min was supposed to be mine. You just kept it from me for 3 years. I looked at her. So you deliberately let me see the ring. She smiled. You're finally a little smarter. I slowly bowed my head. My phone is still on. The recording interface is running. Lin Wei didn't see it. I inched my phone and said calmly, Lin Wei, you'd better remember what you just said. She looked at me and suddenly felt that something was wrong. What did you do? I looked up and smiled at her. Nothing. I turned around and walked down the steps. The night is very dark. The wind blows. But I don't feel cold. Because from this moment on, I no longer just leave Fu Min. I want to take back what they owe me one by one. Behind her, Lin Wei's voice suddenly became sharp. Lin Yu, stop. I didn't look back. The next second, my phone vibrated. A message from an unfamiliar number popped up on the screen. Do you think the ring is the whole truth? I stared at the text message for a long time. Do you think the ring is the whole truth? The sender is an unfamiliar number. No attribution. No superfluous words. It was like a hand stretched out of the darkness and gently touched my shoulder. I didn't reply. I saved the screenshot of the text message and backed up Lin Weiss recording just now to the cloud. Over the years, the first thing I learned in the Lin family was not to trust anyone easily, especially those who say they love you. When I returned to the apartment, it was almost midnight. I just took off my shoes when the doorbell rang. I can see it from the cat's eye. It's my mother. Behind her stood my father. They actually found it here. I didn't open the door. Mother began to knock on the door. Little fish, open the door. We know you're in it. I stood behind the door and didn't move. The father's voice soon sounded. Lin Yu, don't make us ugly. I finally laughed. They are always afraid of ugliness. Don't be afraid of my pain. Don't be afraid of me being cold. I'm not afraid that I won't be able to survive alone in a strange apartment. They are only afraid that I will be disobedient and make the Lin family lose the support. Oh, F the Fu family. I opened the door. As soon as the mother came in, she frowned and looked at the house. You live in this kind of place. I said, it's good here. She didn't seem to hear it. Pack up your things immediately and go back to Fuss House with us. I won't go back. My father stood at the door, his eyes suppressing anger. What you said at the Fu family tonight, we can make you feel like you're out of control. Tomorrow you go apologize to Fu Min, and then apologize to your sister. I looked at him. Why should I apologize? The mother immediately said, your sister has just returned to China and is not in good health. How embarrassing it was for you to talk about the ring in public. The embarrassing person should be me. Why don't you understand? The mother's voice was anxious. Your sister and Fu Min used to have a deep relationship. If it weren't for her going abroad for treatment, the person Fu Min married would have been her. I looked at my mother's face. When she said this, her tone was too natural. It seems to be saying something for granted. I suddenly felt that I was like a joke in the past 3 years. So you sent me to marry Fu Min, so that I could take a place for her. Mother's face froze. The father spoke coldly. Don't say it so badly. The Lin family needs the Fu family. And you are also the daughter of the Lin family. Only when I am needed. I am the daughter of the Lin family. Lin Yu. The father raised his voice. I didn't retreat. I turned on my phone and clicked on the recording. Lin Weiss' voice came out clearly. You saw the ring, right? I'm afraid you won't be able to see it all the time. It's been 3 years. And you occupy Mrs. Fuss position. So it's time to give it back to me. Mother's face turned white instantly. My father's eyes also changed. The recording continues. Fu Min should have been mine. You just kept it from me for 3 years. I turned off the recording. The room was quiet. I looked at them. Do you still want me to apologize then? Ow. Mother's lips trembled. How can you record your sister's words? I laughed. She can design me. I can't leave evidence. The father's expression was even more ugly. Delete. No. Lin Yu. Don't forget. Your surname is Lin. Of course I remember. I said. That's why I know that you can sacrifice me once or a second time for the Lin family. The mother was readied. Xiaoyu, we can't help it either. The Lin family has been under a lot of financial pressure in recent years. Your sister is not in good health. As a sister, what's wrong with you taking on a little more? Take on a little more. When I listened to this, my heart did not fluctuate. When I was a child, Lin Wei broke the vase, and my mother asked me to admit it, because my sister is timid. When she was in school, Lin Wei didn't want to participate in the competition, so her father asked me to go for her, because my sister is weak. When she grew up, Lin Wei went abroad, and there was a problem with the Lin family's capital chain, so they asked me to marry Fu Min, because my sister is not here. The Lin family needs someone. Now, they also say, just let me take on a little more. I looked at my mother. I won't take on it anymore. Mother was stunned. I said, from today onwards, if any of you force me to go back to the Fu family, I will send out this recording. My father gritted his teeth. Do you dare to threaten the Lin family? Yes. This is the first time I've made this word so clear. My father raised his hand as if he wanted to hit me. I didn't hide. His hand stopped in midair, because I also raised my phone. Keep fighting. I'll call the police immediately. My father's face turned blue and white. Finally, he put down his hand. You'll regret it. I looked at him. I've regretted it for 3 years. And they left. The moment the door closed, I leaned against the wall and exhaled slowly. I thought I was going to tremble. But no, it turned out that resisting was not as difficult as I thought. The real difficulty was admitting for the first time that I shouldn't have been treated like this. The next morning, as soon as I woke up, I saw news about me appearing on the internet. The title is harsh. President Fu's wife is suspected of being mentally unstable and forced her sick sister to apologize at the family banquet. There are a few more photos below. It was last night's family banquet for the Fu family. The photo angle is clever. Lin Wei stood in front of me with red eyes, and my expression was cold. Mother held her up and looked like I had bullied her. Fu Min stood not far away, frowning. The caption said, I have long been jealous of my twin sister, said that I was emotionally unstable after marriage, said that I was always worried that my husband would fall in love with my sister. He also said that Lin Wei was humiliated by me in public as soon as she returned to China. No one carries the ring. No, oh. And he mentioned what Lin Wei said. I stared at the screen and suddenly it was calm. Lin Wei shot faster than I thought. She didn't come up with it on the fly. She was already ready. At 9 o'clock in the morning, Fu Min's assistant called. Madam, Mr. Fu always wants to see you. I said, I have nothing to talk about with him. The assistant paused. Ma'am, things are a little complicated. Fu received an anonymous report internally that you had copied the group's documents privately. I held my phone and paused. What document? Information related to the Lin family cooperation project. I laughed. Very good. Last night forced me to divorce. Label me today for stealing business documents. Lin Wei's step was to make me unable to raise my head in front of the Fu family and the Lin family. I asked the assistant, does Fu Min believe it? The assistant was silent. I see. Fu Min did not believe it directly, but he didn't deny it directly. This is him. He is always calm and always wants evidence. But he never thought that in these 3 years, what I lacked most was that he believed without hesitation. I hung up the phone. Half an hour later, I went to Fuss. I didn't wear those gentle skirts of the past. I wore a black suit. My hair was tied up, and there was no extra expression on my face. There were 5 people sitting in Fu's conference room. Fu Min was in the main position. Next to him were the heads of the legal and supervision departments, as well as the project representatives of the Lin family. Lin Wei is also there. She was wearing a light-colored suit. Her face was pale, as if she was very weak. Seeing me come in, she whispered, Xiaoyu, I really don't want to make things like this. I pulled away my chair and sat down. Then you can go out now. Her face froze. No one spoke in the conference room. Fu Min looked at me. Lin Yu, the Ministry of Supervision received information showing that you entered the project database 3 months ago. I said, yes. Everyone was stunned. Fu Min's eyes darkened slightly. I continued. At that time, the Lin family project documents needed to be completed, and the Fu system gave me temporary permissions. I have saved permission request emails, approval records, and operation logs. I turned on the computer and cast the file on the screen. The first is a permission request. The second is a confirmation email from Fu Min's assistant. The third copy is the operation record exported by the system. Every time is right. After reading it, the person in charge of the supervision department looked a little embarrassed. These records do show that Miss Lin's operation at that time was in line with the process. Lin Wei said softly, but there is a document in the anonymous report that flowed out of Xiaoyu's computer. She looked at me. Her eyes read, little fish, I believe you didn't mean to. Are you being used by others? I looked at her. She speaks really smartly. She didn't directly say that I was a thief. She said I was being used. So she looks kind. And I am still suspicious. I click on another folder. This so-called document leaked from my computer. The file name is the final version of the Lin family project quotation. I looked at the head of the supervision department. Excuse me, what is the format of Fu's real project file number? The person in charge replied, it starts with the department code, followed by the date and version number. I nodded. Then why is this document not numbered? The person in charge was stunned. I continued. Also, the budget table in the document uses an old template. Fu had updated the template 3 months ago. This document was not exported from the Fu system at all. I clicked on the last page. What's more, there is a hidden author name in the file. Hidden properties are displayed on the screen. Author, Lin Wei. The conference room was instantly quiet. The blood on Lin Wei's face receded. She quickly reacted. Xiaoyu, how can you forge this kind of thing? I looked at her. You can find a professional to appraise it. Fu Min raised his eyes to look at the legal affairs. The legal affairs immediately said, you can do data traceability. Lin Wei's fingers clenched. She looked at Fu Min. Fu Min, do you think I did it too? Fu Min did not answer immediately. Tears fell from Lin Wei's eyes. I just returned to China. Why should I harm the little fish like this? I said, because you want me to leave the Fu family and you want me to be charged with stealing documents. In this way, after I divorce, no one will stand on my side, whether it is the Lin family or the Fu family. Lin Wei's voice trembled. How can you think of me like that? I ignored her. I looked at Fu Min. Is it clear now? Fu Min looked at the screen, his face very cold. He asked the Ministry of Supervision, where does the anonymous report come from? The person in charge said, the virtual mailbox is still tracking. Fu Min said in a deep voice, Continue to investigate. I closed the computer. Check it out. Divorce also continues. Fu Min looked at me. It's not over yet. Our marriage is over. I took out the divorce agreement from my bag and put it in front of him. The paper falls on the tabletop. The voice is very soft, but everyone in the entire conference room heard it. Lin Wei's eyes lit up for a moment. I saw it. Fu Min also saw it. His expression was colder. I said, I have signed the agreement. I don't want property. I don't want a penny of the Fu family's money. Fu Min's hand was on the agreement, but he didn't open it. What do you want? Public explanation. He frowned. I looked into his eyes. I want you to publicly admit that in the 3 years of marriage, you snubbed me and you did not fulfill your husband's responsibilities. I want everyone to know that it's not that I'm crazy. It's not that I'm jealous. It's not that I'm not worthy of you. Lin Wei immediately looked up. This will affect Fu's reputation. I turned to look at her. You care so much about Fu's reputation. Why don't you explain why the author of the document is you? Her face turned pale. Fu Min looked at me in a low voice. Lin Yu. You must do this. I laughed. Fu Min, I just turned your silence into a fact that everyone can see. His eyes shook. I stood up. You look at the agreement slowly. In 3 days, I will have a lawyer contact you. I leave the conference room. When he walked to the elevator entrance, Fu Min chased him out. Lin Yu. I pressed the elevator and didn't look back. He stopped behind me. He'll find out last night's ring. I said, no need. Lin Yu. I finally turned to look at him. Fu Min. You want to find out now because you think you may have wrongly blamed me, but I don't need your belated fairness. He was silent. I said, if you really want to do something, sign it. The elevator door opened. I walked in. When the door closed, I saw Fu Min standing outside. His face pale as rare. I don't have a soft heart. Back at the apartment, I called the lawyer. The lawyer's surname was Zhou, and he was introduced to me by a senior I met in college. For the past 6 months, I have been secretly consulting her about divorce and property. After listening to my description, lawyer Zhou quickly said, Miss Lin, the Lin family may not just want to force you to go back to the Fu family. They may also want to shift greater responsibility through you. I sat down at the table, my fingers tapping lightly against the wall of the cup. I think so too. Have you checked the inheritance left by your mother back then? I was stunned. What legacy? The other side of the phone was quiet for a second. Lawyer Zhou asked, you don't know? My heart suddenly sank. Mother. She was talking about my biological mother. My current mother is a stepmother. My biological mother died when Lin Wei and I were 8 years old. The Lin family kept saying that she didn't leave anything behind. There were only a few old pieces of jewelry, which were later taken away by Lin Wei. Lawyer Zhou's voice was serious. I have seen the family information you provided before. Your biological mother was once a core shareholder of Lin's early days and also had her own design brand. It stands to reason that she couldn't have left anything behind. I clench my phone. You mean, they're hiding it from me? Maybe. I closed my eyes. Ring. Lin Wei. Fu Min. Steal documents. Legacy. Everything is like a thread, slowly intertwined. That night, I started rummaging through old things. I took out that old photo album from my suitcase. Most of them are photos of me when I was a child. I flipped through the pages. Suddenly, a photo clipped in the album fell out. The photos are a bit old. Above are 2 little girls. One is me. One is Lin Wei. We were wearing the same dress and standing in the yard. I wear a silver pendant in the shape of a small fish around my neck. I reached out and touched the photo. I haven't read that silver pendant for a long time. I wore it all the time as a child. Later it was lost. Lin Wei said that she accidentally lost it. I cried for a long time. The mother said, it's just a necklace. And your sister didn't mean to. I was looking at the photo when my phone rang suddenly. It's that strange number again. This time, the other party sent a picture. In the picture is a teenager. He was wearing a white shirt and covered in blood. Sitting on a bench in the hospital corridor, a little girl stood beside him. The girl lowered her head and wrapped gauze around her arms. The photo is blurry, but I saw the small fish silver pendant on her neck at a glance. My breathing stopped. Because that girl is not Lin Wei. It's me. The next SE. Conned. Another text message popped up. The person who saved Fu Min was you. I stared at the phone screen and tightened my fingers little by little. The teenager in the photo has blood on his face. His eyebrows and eyes were not as cold as they are now, more weak and panicked, but I still recognized him. Fu Min in his youth. And the little girl standing next to him is me. I remember that day. Although the memory is far away, I have never forgotten the cold of the rain hitting my face. I was 8 years old. The Lin family took Lin Wei and me to a private banquet. The banquet was in the villa. The adults were talking inside, and I ran alone to the back of the garden. It suddenly rained heavily that day. I saw a boy near the back door. He sat against the wall, his forehead bleeding and his arms bleeding. He looked in pain, but he didn't cry. I was freaked out. I asked him, "Who are you?" He was speechless. I ran to find someone, but the backyard was too far away and the rain was too heavy, and no one heard me shouting. I can only go back and help him up. He is taller than me and heavier than me. I dragged him for a long time. Later, I stuffed the small fish silver pendant around my neck into his hand. I said to him, "You hold this. Don't sleep. When you wake up, give it back to me." That he looked at me with dark eyes. He said, "What's your name?" I was about to answer when I heard someone coming in the distance. I was afraid that the Lin family would find me running around, so I could only avoid it first. After that, I had a high fever. When he woke up, the silver pendant was gone. Lin Wei sat next to my bed and said with a smile, "Xiaoyu, your necklace is lost." I asked her how she lost it. She said she didn't know. I went to my father and stepmother crying. They just say that a necklace is not worth the trouble. Then this incident passed. At least in my world, it passed. But now, this photo tells me that it never passed. It became the most important old thing in Fu Min's heart. It was just stolen by Lin Wei. I opened the chat box of the unfamiliar number and enter a sentence. "Who are you?" The other party did not reply immediately. I asked again, "Why do you have this photo?" After a few minutes, the other party replied to an address. "If you want to know, go check the old files of this hospital." I looked at the address. It was the private hospital 15 years ago. I didn't ask again, because I know that the other party will not say more easily. Early the next morning, I went to that hospital. 15 years later, the hospital has been renovated. After listening to my request, the front desk nurse politely told me that the old files could not be viewed casually. I was prepared. Lawyer Zhou went with me. She presented the relevant application documents. We waited 2 hours before meeting the head of the archives. The person in charge is a woman in her 50s with the Sir name Chin. When she heard the name Fu Min, her expression changed significantly. "You want to check the records of the villa accident 15 years ago?" I nodded. "Yes." Director Chin looked at me, his eyes fixed on my face for a long time. "You are the daughter of the Lin family. Lin Yu." Her eyes changed. "Lin Yu." My heart jumped violently. "Do you know me?" She didn't answer immediately. She turned and walked into the archives. 10 minutes later, she came out with an old document. The document has been yellowed. She pushed it in front of me. When the young master of the Fu family was sent, he was indeed accompanied by a little girl. The little girl was injured in her arm and had a high fever. But she refused to leave. She kept asking if that brother would die. My throat was a little tight. Director Chin looked at me. The girl had a wound on her arm. There should be scars later. I subconsciously touched my left arm. There was a faint scar there. Very shallow, but it's always there. I push. Ed my sleeves up a little. Director Chin saw the scar, and his eyes were more certain. "It's you." Lawyer Zhou looked at me. I didn't speak. Director Chin continued. "Later, someone from the Lin family came and took you away. Not long after, another little girl came. She held a small fish silver pendant and said that she had saved the young master of the Fu family." My fingers were cold. "It's Lin Wei." Director Chin nodded. I thought it was strange at the time, because the two girls looked too similar. I asked her why her arm was not injured. And she said it had been treated. Later, the Fu family came, and I was a nurse, so I couldn't say much. She paused. I always remember all these years, because the little girl who really saved people was obviously bleeding herself. But she was always very quiet. My eyes were a little sore. I bowed my head. "Not for Fu Min. It's for myself when I was a child." The little girl saved someone, but was taken home and reprimanded. She lost her most precious necklace and was told not to make trouble. Her credit was taken away by her sister, but she didn't know anything. 15 years later, she married the teenager again. She thought she finally had a home, but what the young man remembered in his heart was still the one who stole her name. I asked Director Chin, "Can the materials of that year still be copied?" "Yes. But you need to go through the procedure." Lawyer Zhou immediately answered, "We will submit an application." When leaving the hospital, the sun was dazzling. I stood on the steps and suddenly felt very cold. Lawyer Zhou looked at me. "Miss Lin, are you okay?" I nodded. "I'm fine." She said softly, "Do you want to tell Fu Min now?" I looked into the distance. Traffic comes and goes. The city is huge. But I suddenly felt that I was trapped in a very small box for the past 3 years. The box says Mrs. Fu. There was no name of my own in it. "Don't tell," I said. Lawyer Zhou was a little surprised. I said, "Telling him now will only make him feel guilty." "Guilt is not what I want." "Then what do you want?" "Evidence." I turned to look at her. "I want complete evidence. Rings, silver pendants, inheritances, and the accounts of the Lin family. I want to find out." Lawyer Zhou looked at me for a few seconds, then nodded. "It'll help you." In the afternoon, I received a call from Fu Min. I didn't want to pick it up, but I want to know where he got it. I picked up the phone. Fu Min's voice was very low. "Where are you? What's wrong?" He paused. I checked the ring. I didn't speak. He said, "That ring is not my custom ring." My fingers tightened slightly. "What do you mean?" "The day before the wedding, there was a problem with the ring. The assistant said that the size of the band was wrong, so I took it to adjust. The one that was sent back later is the current one." I laughed. "So you want to say, you don't know that Lin Wei's name is engraved on it?" "I really don't know, but you've been wearing it for 3 years." The other side of the phone was quiet. I continued, "Fu Min, haven't you seen it once in 3 years?" He did not answer. I said, "You see, even if the ring wasn't carved by you, you're not very innocent." His breathing sank. "I know, this is the first time he has said it, and he knows, but I don't need it anymore." Fu Min asked, "Did you go to the hospital today?" My eyes were cold. You follow me? No. I asked someone to check the source of the anonymous text message and found the signal near the hospital. I said coldly. Fu Min, don't check me. Lin Yu, we're getting divorced. He was silent for a while. I just want to know the truth. I said. If you want the truth, you can find it yourself, but don't take answers from me. I hung up the phone. Not long after, the doorbell rang. I opened the door and saw Lin Wei standing outside. She was wearing sunglasses and there was no one behind her. I wasn't surprised at all. She is more afraid of the truth than Fu Min. I didn't ask her in. If you have something, just say it here. Lin Wei took off her sunglasses and looked at me. There was bloodshot in her eyes. It seems that she didn't sleep well last night. Little fish, let's talk. I have nothing to talk about with you. She smiled. Did you go to the hospital? I looked at her. Are you afraid? Her face darkened. Soon, she returned to her gentleness. Xiaoyu, I know you blame me, but the past is gone. Fu Min cares about me now, not you. If you check this, you will only make yourself more ugly. I said, are you sure he cares about you? Her eyes were cold. At least he kept my name for 3 years. This sentence is really stinging, but it can't pierce the deepest part anymore. I said, you changed that ring. She did not deny it. She just smiled softly. You have no evidence. There will be. Lin Wei took a step closer. Little fish, why do you have to fight with me? Have you ever won since you were a child? I looked at her. She continued. Mom and Dad love me. Fu Min remembers me. The resources of the Lin family are mine, and the position of the Fu family should also be mine. What about you? You were just born a few minutes later than me, so you stole my things. The smile on her face faded. Your things, she whispered. What is something yours for? I didn't speak. She lowered her voice. Little fish, you'd better stop investigating. Otherwise, you will find that you have lost much more than one man. My heart sank. What do you mean? Lin Wei looked at me and smiled slowly. Do you really think that your mother left you nothing after she died? I stared at her. She finally slipped her mouth. I took a step forward. You know about inheritance. Her face changed. I realized that I was talking too much. But soon, she smiled again. So what? Do you have the ability to take it back? I looked at her. Lin Wei, you admit it. She suddenly felt uneasy. I raised my hand. The phone screen is on. The recording continues. Lin Wei's expression changed instantly. She reached out to grab my phone. I took a step back. Don't touch me. Her face twisted for a moment. Little fish, when did you become like this? I looked at her calmly. From the day I found out that you all thought I was a fool. She took a deep breath and put her sunglasses back on. You'll regret it. I said. Dad said this too. You can change the sentence. She turned and left. I closed the door and immediately sent the recording to Lawyer Zhou. 10 minutes later, Lawyer Zhou called me back. She mentioned the legacy, which is important. We need to find your mother's living lawyer. Can you find it? You can try. Your mother had a long-term cooperative lawyer named Sue, but he left the city 10 years ago. Check. I said it quickly. No matter what method you use, find him. Lawyer Zhou agreed. For the next 2 days, I had little rest. I looked up my mother's previous company, checked the changes in Lin's early equity, checked the sudden increase in assets under Lin Wei's name. The more I checked, the more frightened I felt. The year after her mother's death, Lin Wei had an additional trust beneficiary in her name. In the 5th year, part of Lin's design copyright was transferred to Lin Wei. In the 10th year, the Lin family used an authorization document to take away the brand income in his mother's name. Those things may have been related to me, but I never knew. I only know that the Lin family said I was useless, said I was not as good as Lin Wei, said I should be obedient. It turns out that I am not worthless. It is they who are afraid that I know their worth. On the 3rd night, Lawyer Zhou finally contacted Lawyer Su. He is retired and lives in a small town by the sea. When the phone was connected, his voice was old, but it was clear. Lin Yu. I clenched my phone. I am. He was silent for a long time. You finally came to me. My heart was beating faster. Do you know me? Before your mother passed away, she left you a trust document. He said. She said that if the Lin family doesn't take the initiative to tell you, then wait until you are 26 years old, and you will take it yourself. I just turned 26 this year. I asked, where is that document? Lawyer Su said an address. With me, and a letter your mother left you. My eyes suddenly became hot. I held back hard. It'll go to you tomorrow. After hanging up the phone, I sat at the table for a long time. It was raining outside the window. The rain hit the glass. Like that night 15 years ago, I turned on my computer and reorganized all the information. Fu Min's call came again. This time, I didn't answer. He sent a message. Was it you who saved me back then? I stared at the line for a long time. Then I picked up the divorce agreement on the table. Fu Min has not yet signed. I put the agreement back into the document bag and went directly to Fuss early the next morning. The front desk saw me and was very nervous. Mr. Fu is in the conference room. I said, I'll wait for him. But as soon as I sat down, I saw Fu Min coming out of the elevator. He seemed to have known that I would come. His face was worse than the previous days. There is a faint cyan under the eyes. He walked up to me. Lin Yu. I handed him the bag of documents. Sign. He didn't answer. His gaze fell on my left arm. Today I am wearing a short-sleeved shirt. The shallow scar was exposed. Fu Min stared at the scar. His eyes changed little by little. His voice was very soft, as if he was afraid of breaking something. It's really you. I looked at him. There is no denial, nor did he admit it. His Adam's apple moved. Why don't you tell me? I laughed. Tell you what? Tell you. Did you recognize the wrong person? Tell you. You snubbed me for 3 years because of a lie. Or tell you that you can compensate me with guilt now. His face turned pale. That's not what I meant. Fu Min. I pushed the document bag forward a little. I'm here today, not to claim the past. He looked at me. I said, I'm here to end the present. He finally took the document bag, but before it could be opened, the assistant suddenly walked over quickly. Mr. Fu, something happened to the Lin family. Fu Min frowned. What's the matter? The assistant glanced at me, his face very complicated. Someone broke the news to the media that his wife had participated in Lin's financial fraud early on. Now several media are downstairs and want to interview his wife. I stood there and slowly tightened my fingers. Fu Min's face sank instantly, and my mobile phone also reset. Vet a new message at this time. It's still the unfamiliar number. Don't go in front of the media. The person who broke the news was not Lin Wei. It was your father. The media is downstairs, outside the Fu building. Many reporters have already gathered. They didn't come on a short basis. They carry cameras, microphones, and questions that have been prepared for a long time. They are not waiting for an interview. They are waiting to see me collapse. Fu Min's assistant looked at me and lowered his voice. Madam, you can leave the underground garage first. Mr. Fu will deal with it. Before I could speak, Fu Min had already spoken. I'll send you away. I looked at him. Fu Min, do you still think that I can only hide? His face froze. I picked up my phone and looked at the strange text message. Don't go in front of the media. The person who broke the news was not Lin Wei. It was your father. My father. This answer is not surprising, but when I actually saw this sentence, my heart still chilled. He wanted me to take the blame. He wanted to put the responsibility for Lin's financial fraud on me. If I run away today, the media will say I have a guilty conscience. If Fu Min came forward to protect me, they would say that the Fu family protected me. No matter what I do, the Lin family can splash dirty water on me. My father knew me well. He thought I was still the same as in the past. Afraid of losing face. Afraid of being accused by others. And afraid of disappointment of my relatives. But he didn't know. From the moment I saw the ring, I wasn't afraid of that. I was afraid that I would continue to be silent. Fu Min looked at me. Lin Yu, you don't have to face this matter yourself. I laughed. If I had said this sentence 3 years earlier, maybe I would have been very moved. His eyes darkened. I said, but now, I don't need you to face it for me. I just need you to get out of my way. I turned to look at the assistant. How much media is there downstairs? The assistant was stunned for a moment. About a dozen. Is there a live broadcast? There are 2. Very good. Fu Min frowned. What do you want to do? I looked at him. Since they want me to go downstairs, then I'll go down. Lin Yu. His voice sank. I interrupted him. You can follow, but don't speak for me. Fu Min looked at me for a long time. Finally, he nodded. Okay. We went downstairs together. It was quiet in the elevator. The mirror reflected my face. I was wearing a white shirt and black trousers, and my hair was tied very low. I don't look like a woman abandoned by marriage. It's not like a person who was pushed out by the family to take the blame. I looked calm. I was so calm that I was a little unfamiliar with myself. Fu Min stood beside me. He didn't speak. The elevator reached the first FL. Booer. As soon as the door opened, the flash immediately turned on. The reporters almost rushed up. Miss Lin, are you involved in Lin's financial fraud? Some people say that you used Mrs. Fu's identity to obtain Fu's project information for Lin. Is this true? Is your marriage to Mr. Fu because you were found to have leaked trade secrets? Is your sister Miss Lin Wei also implicated by you? The questions are sharper than the other. Every sentence has already been blamed on me. Fu Min took a step forward. I raised my hand to stop him. He stopped. I looked at the camera. I only answered 3 questions. The scene was quiet for a moment. I said, first, I am not involved in Lin's financial fraud. Second, I did not leak the information of the Fu project. Third, I will make the evidence public at 8 o'clock this evening. Please watch all media on time. The reporters were in a commotion. Someone asked loudly, what evidence? I looked at the reporter. Evidence that can prove who really made false accounts, who really stole documents, and who really set up a bureau to harm me. The reporter also wanted to ask. I continued, if any media continues to convict me with false content until the evidence is made public, I will prosecute it to the end. After I finished speaking, I turned to leave. A female reporter suddenly asked, Miss Lin, I heard that your sister Lin Wei is the lover of Mr. Fu's heart. Did you take revenge on the Lin family because you were jealous of her? My step stopped. The air seemed to be torn apart by this sentence. I slowly turned around and looked at her. Whose money did you receive? The female reporter's face changed. Miss Lin, please answer positively. I've answered positively. I said, this question is not an interview. It is a guide. You don't want to know the truth. You just want to embarrass me. She opened her mouth. I looked at the camera. I can also answer. Who Fu Min loved is his business. Whether I am innocent or not is a matter of law and evidence. Please don't use a man's feelings to judge whether a woman is guilty. The scene was quiet. When this sentence was said, my heart felt lighter. In the past 3 years, I have too often regarded Fu Min's attitude as my own value. He doesn't love me, so I'm not good enough. He doesn't touch me, so I'm not worthy of love. He has someone else in his heart, so I am destined to be a substitute. Now I finally understand. His choice cannot define me. Fu Min stood behind me and didn't speak, but I could feel his gaze falling on me. I didn't look back. At 8 p.m. I didn't have a development conference. I started a live broadcast. The location is not fuss. It was an old studio left by my mother. It has been empty for many years. The wooden door is rusty, and there is an old logo on the wall where she designed the brand. I asked lawyer Zhou to find someone to clean it up briefly in the afternoon. There are 3 things on the table: a copy of Lin's accounts, a traceability report on the Fu project data, a request for acknowledgement of old hospital fee. Before the live broadcast started, lawyer Zhou asked me, "Are you sure you want to put these now?" I nodded. "Put apart. Why don't you put it all at once?" "Because I'm going to let them jump out on their own." Lawyer Zhou looked at me and smiled. "You're becoming more and more like a real negotiator." I said, "It's not that I want to learn. They forced me to learn." At 8 o'clock sharp, the live broadcast began. The camera lit up. I sat at the table and looked at the screen. The number of people online is rising rapidly. Comments keep scrolling. Someone scolded me. Some people watched the excitement. I was also asked if I had any evidence. I didn't read the comments. I picked up the first document first. This is part of Lin's project accounts in the past 5 years. I did not publish the full commercial details, only the key timeline. Among these projects, several abnormal funds were transferred to shell companies. The actual controller of the shell company is not me. I released the company's shareholding structure chart. The person who ultimately pointed to it was the financial director of the Lin family, and the financial director is my father CONF. I didn't. Then, I picked up the second report. This is the technical traceability of the Fu project document, the so-called file that flowed out of my computer. The author's name is Lin Wei. The template is not Fu's current template, and the generation equipment does not belong to me. I didn't directly say that Lin Wei was guilty. I only said, the evidence has been handed over to lawyers and relevant departments. The comment area exploded. Many people began to ask Lin Wei. Some people also asked me why I didn't say it before. I looked up at the camera, because I used to think that the family wouldn't really harm me. After saying this, I laughed myself, very light, but I was wrong. The live broadcast room was quiet for a few seconds. I continued, "After today, if anyone pushes Lin's problem on me again, I will pursue it according to the law, no matter who the other person is." This sentence was said to my father. After the live broadcast, less than 10 minutes later, my father's phone called. I answered. His first words were roaring. "Lin Yu, do you want to ruin the Lin family?" I sat in an old chair in the studio and looked at the old photo of my mother on the wall. In the photo, she is very young, with gentle eyebrows and eyes, but very determined. I said, "It's not that I want to destroy the Lin family. You have destroyed it." My father's voice was fierce. "Do you know what you did today?" "I know. I'm your dad, so you can put the blame on me." He was silent for a moment. Then his voice cooled down. "Do you think you're smart? Lin Yu, the little thing in your hand is not enough at all. If you really push the Lin family into a hurry, I will let you not even have a place to live now." I laughed. "You can try." My father has a strong breath. "You'll regret it. You've said this many times." I hung up. Lawyer Zhou stood aside with a serious face. "He won't stop." "I know. Then he may transfer assets or destroy evidence, so we have to be faster than him." That night, Fu Min came to the studio. He didn't bring a bodyguard or an assistant. He stood at the door, his suit jacket a little wet from the rain. When I saw him, my heart didn't fluctuate much. I just asked, "What's wrong?" Fu Min looked at me. "I found a record of ring replacement." I didn't ask him in. He handed me a document. The day before the wedding, the ring was sent to be adjusted by the staff in charge of the wedding of the Fu family. There was a 20-minute gap in the middle, and the monitoring was missing. The staff member has now left and has received a sum of money in his account. "Is the payer Lin Wei?" "No." I frowned. Fu Min said, "It's your father's secretary." I sneered in my heart. Sure enough, Lin Wei did it, and the Lin family helped her deal with the aftermath. Everyone knows very well that I will get hurt. Everyone thinks it's okay. Fu Min's voice was lower. "Lin Yu, I'm sorry." I looked up at him. He stood on a rainy night, his face pale. Fu Min, who was so high, seemed to find a place to stand for the first time. "But I am not soft-hearted. You're sorry for me. It's not just the ring," he said. "I know." I said, "No, you don't know." I took a step forward. "Fu Min, you think you recognize the wrong person, so you snubbed me. But even if you don't recognize the wrong person, you have no right to treat your wife like this." His eyes were shocked. I continued, You cannot love me. You can refuse the marriage. You can even explain it to me at the beginning. But you don't. You made me guess for 3 years in a marriage without temperature. The sound of rain fell outside the door. He looked at me. His eyes were deep and painful. I said, so, don't exchange the truth for my forgiveness. The truth just let me know who I had hurt. It cannot make the damage go away. Fu Min was silent for a long time. Then he said, I won't ask for your forgiveness. I nodded. Then sign. His fingers tightened slightly. I've seen the divorce agreement. Then sign. Tomorrow, he said. After the charity dinner tomorrow, I'll sign. I looked at him. Why wait until tomorrow? He handed me another document. Lin Wei will announce at the Lin charity dinner tomorrow that she will take over the brand left by your mother. My heart sank suddenly. Why should she? With a power of attorney. Fu Min looked at me. That power of attorney is likely forged. But if she announces it publicly tomorrow and uses the media to create momentum, it will be very troublesome for you to recover later. I took the information. It says that Lin Wei will appear as the inheritor of Lin's original design. She was going to take my mother's last things. I slowly clenched the piece of paper. Fu Min whispered, I can help you stop her. I looked at him. No. His eyes darkened. I said, I'll go by myself tomorrow. The next night, Lin's charity dinner was held at the Songnam Hotel. The Lin family made the scene very big. A lot of media came, more than those downstairs yesterday. They thought they could see Lin Wei, the eldest lady of the Lin family, reappear tonight. You can also see that my troublesome sister is completely out. I wore a long black dress. No complicated jewelry. Only a small fish-shaped brooch is worn. That's not the silver pendant of the year. I asked someone to send it temporarily in the afternoon. I walked into the banquet hall. LL wearing it. Many people looked over. Lin Wei stood on the stage. She wore a white dress, like a carefully protected flower. The mother stood beside her, her face full of pride. My father was exchanging pleasantries with guests. When he saw me, his face immediately darkened. Lin Wei also saw me. Her smile froze for a moment, but quickly recovered. Xiaoyu, you're here. She held the microphone and her voice was soft. I'm still worried that you don't want to see me. Many people in the audience looked at me. I walked up to the stage step by step. I didn't answer her. I took another microphone from the host. Lin Wei, I heard that you are going to take over my mother's brand tonight. Lin Wei's eyes were slightly red. Xiaoyu, I know you have a misunderstanding about me, but this is the arrangement of my parents, and it is also to let my mother's hard work continue. Mom, I repeated. Lin Wei, that's my biological mother, not yours. The audience was quiet. Mother's face changed. Although she is my stepmother, she has always blurred everyone about it over the years. She wants everyone to feel that she is as good to me as Lin Wei, so that her partiality will not look ugly. Lin Wei said softly, Xiaoyu, we grew up together, and I have always regarded her as a mother, so you can take what she left me. Lin Wei's face turned a little whiter. How can you say that? The power of attorney is clearly written. I nodded. Then see it clearly. I raised my hand. The big screen behind him lit up. The first document is Lin Wei's so-called power of attorney. The second document is the original trust statement that lawyer Su sent me this afternoon. It is clearly written. He designed brand. Income rights and part of the equity under my mother's name were independently taken over by me after I was 26 years old. No one may dispose of it on their behalf. The audience began to commotion. I looked at Lin Wei. The date of your power of attorney is the 3rd month after my mother's death. Lin Wei's fingers tightened. I continued. But at that time, it was impossible for my mother to sign. Someone gasped. My father slammed onto the stage. Lin Yu, that's enough. I didn't retreat. It's not enough. I raised my hand and played the recording. Lin Wei's voice came out of the stereo. Do you really think that your mother left you nothing after she died? So what? Do you have the ability to take it back? The audience was silent. Lin Wei's face turned pale. She rushed over to grab my microphone. Fu Min took the stage at this time. He stood in front of me. Lin Wei stopped. She looked at Fu Min. Tears fell immediately. Fu Min, do you believe her? She is harming me. Fu Min looked at her. Lin Wei, the person who saved me back then was not you. When this sentence fell, the audience seemed to be ignited. Lin Wei froze completely. I also looked at Fu Min. I didn't expect him to say it at this time. He didn't look at me. He continued. 15 years ago, you came to the Fu family with a small fish silver pendant and said that you saved me. But hospital records, nurse testimony, and the scar on Lin Ye's arm all prove that that person is not you. Lin Wei shook her head. No. It's not like that. Fu Min's voice was as cold as ice. You lied to me for 15 years. Lin Wei cried and said, I just love you so much. I looked at her and suddenly felt ridiculous. She always does. When you steal something, you say you are pitiful. When he harms others, he says he loves them too much. When he was exposed, he said he couldn't help it. I walked up to her. Lin Wei, I'll just ask you. She looked at me with a resentful look in her eyes. I asked, which of the things you stole really belongs to you? Her lips trembled. I said word by word. The grace of saving my life is not yours. The mother's legacy is not yours. Mrs. Fu's position is not yours either. You have stolen for so many years and in the end you have only proven one thing. She stared at me. I said, you have nothing. Lin Wei suddenly screamed. Lin Yu, She raised her hand to hit me. Fu Min grabbed her wrist. My father rushed over and wanted to keep things down. But this time, he couldn't hold back. The media lenses were all aimed at the stage. The dignity of the Lin family was torn apart. I didn't look at them anymore. I handed over all the documents to Lawyer Zhou. Call the police. Lawyer Zhou nodded. My father finally panicked. Lin Yu, do you really want to do things badly? I looked at him. I just got my stuff back. He said, I am your father. I said, then you should accept the law too. My father's face became terrifying in an instant. That kind of look suddenly reminded me of when I was a child. Every time I was disobedient, he would look at me like this, like I am not his daughter, just a trouble that must be suppressed. The dinner was forced to be interrupted. Lin Wei was helped away by her mother. My father was surrounded by several partners, and his face was extremely difficult to see. When I walked out of the hotel, it was still raining outside. Fu Min chased out. Lin Yu. I stopped. He stood behind me. I shouldn't have said it before you about today's incident. I know he's talking about a savior. I looked at the rain curtain. You've already said it. I'm sorry, Fu Min. You don't have to say every word to be sorry. He was silent. I said, because I listen too much. I get tired. His face turned pale. I was about to leave when my phone rang suddenly. It's an unfamiliar number. This time, not text messages. It's a phone. I picked it up. On the other side of the phone, there is a voice that has been processed. Lin Yu, do you think you won tonight? I frowned. Who are you? The other party laughed. Your mother didn't die of illness. I stiffened. The sound of rain suddenly became far away. The other party continued. If you want to know the truth, come to the old warehouse at 12 o'clock tonight. The phone hung up. An address pops up on the screen. Fu Min saw my face and immediately asked, what's wrong? I handed him my phone. After he finished reading it, his face changed instantly. Don't go. I looked at him. Why? Fu Min clenched his phone. Because that old warehouse was where Lin disposed of your mother's relics. The rain fell even more rapidly, and I suddenly understood. The secrets left to me by my mother may be more than just inheritance. And her death. Fu Min said don't go. His voice was heavy, like a command, like a request. I got my phone back. I'll go. His face sank. Lin Yu, this is obviously a trap. I know. Knowing and going. I looked at him. Because they have put the bait in front of me. If I don't go, they will force me in another way. Fu Min suppressed his emotions. Then leave it to the police. Meeting. Then why do you want to go in person? I looked at the lights at the entrance of the hotel. The light is very bright, but it can't shine far away in the rain. Because I want to hear them say it themselves. Fu Min was silent. I know he doesn't understand. He is used to judging things by the results. If the evidence is sufficient, hand it over to the lawyer. When danger comes, let others deal with it. But for me, there are some words that must be heard with my own ears. I want to know, how did my mother die? I want to know how many years the Lin family has been hiding from me. I also want to know if they felt a moment of guilt when they watched me trapped in the Fu family for 3 years. By the time Lawyer Zhou arrived, I had already written the plan. After she finished reading, she looked up at me. Do you want to bring recording equipment, alarm in advance, and set up scheduled emails? Yes. What is the content of the email? All evidence, including tonight's address and the information I currently have. If I don't cancel the send before 12:30, it will automatically be sent to the police, the media, and you. Lawyer Zhou nodded. That's fine, but I still advise you not to go in alone. I said, I won't really be alone. Fu Min immediately said, I'll go with you. I looked at him. No. His brows furrowed. I said, you are too conspicuous. As soon as you show up, they won't tell the truth. Then I'm outside. You can be outside, but you can't interfere with my plans. Fu Min stared at me. If you're in danger, there's no way I can't go in. Then wait until I'm really in danger. His eyes sank heavily. I know he is unhappy, but I also know that he will agree. Because after tonight, he has understood that I am not the one he can arrange. 11:30 p.m. I arrived near the old warehouse. This place is on the outskirts of the city. There was almost no one around. A few street lamps were broken, and the light was intermittent. The rain has stopped. The ground was full of water. I sat in the car and put on my headset. Lawyer Zhou was in another car. The police are also on standby nearby. Fu Min's car was parked further away. He didn't come, just sent me a message. Don't be strong. I glanced at it and replied with 3 words. I know. Then I got out of the car. The warehouse door is ajar open. There are dim lights inside. I pushed the door open. The air smells of dust and rust. There were 2 people standing in the depths of the warehouse. Lin Wei and my father. Lin Wei saw me and smiled. Xiaoyu, you're really here. I looked at her. Didn't you ask me to come? My father's face was gloomy. Hand over your phone. I cooperatively put my phone on the old table at the door. Lin Wei came over to check. She didn't find the recording device in my collar. She picked up my phone and turned it off. Now it's good. I looked at her. What do you want to say? The father took out a document. Signed. I glanced down. Is a statement of responsibility. It reads that I admit that during my tenure at Lin's, I handled some financial documents privately, resulting in abnormal project accounts. I laughed. When did I work for Lin's? The father said coldly. You are the daughter of the Lin family. It is very reasonable to sign this. Reasonable. I looked up at him. You want me to go to jail for you? Is it reasonable? Lin Wei walked to her father. Xiaoyu, as long as you sign, we will give you a sum of money to get you out of here. If you go to live abroad, no one will embarrass you anymore. I looked at her. What about Fu Min? Her face turned cold. You're already going to get divorced. So after I sign, you continue to go back to be Mrs. Fu. Lin Wei did not deny it. The father said impatiently, don't talk nonsense. Sign. I picked up the document and flipped through it slowly. What about my mother's death? The air quieted down. Lin Wei and her father looked at each other. My father's face was even darker. That's when you listen to other people's nonsense. She didn't die of illness, did she? My father's eyes fell on my face like a knife. Your mother is not in good health. I looked at him. Then why was her lawyer forced to leave the city after her death? Why did her brand authorization documents appear 3 months after her death? Why were her relics sent here for processing? Lin Wei laughed. Xiaoyu, you really look like a detective now. Answer me. Lin Wei slowly approached me. She looked at my face, and there was a kind of hatred in her eyes that had been suppressed for many years. You really want to know? I want to, she said. Okay. I'll tell you. My father immediately stopped. Lin Wei. Lin Wei seemed to be unable to help it. Dad, what are you afraid of? She can't get out tonight. My heart was cold, but it didn't show on his face. Lin Wei looked at me. Your mother really didn't die suddenly. She discovered problems with Lin's early accounts and also found that her father had transferred assets. She wants a divorce and takes you away. My breathing stopped. Ed, my mother wants to take me away. Not Lin Wei. It's me. Lin Wei's eyes were filled with hatred. She said you are quieter, more sensitive, and more in need of protection. She said I have parents to take care of me. But you don't. She wants to leave her shares and brand to you. She laughed. Laughing ugly. Why? I looked at her. So you hate me. Of course I hate you. Lin Wei suddenly raised her voice. We have the same face. But she just wants to take you away. Later. Fu Min was also the same. The person he was rescued should have been me. But you are there. The person who saved Fu Min was originally me. So what? She said sharply. I took the silver pendant. And he believed me. This shows that he can't tell the difference between you and me in the first place. The words fell, and the warehouse was terribly quiet. I don't have anger in my heart. There is only a deep exhaustion. Lin Wei continued. I also asked someone to change the ring. I just want you to not see the truth every day, and sleep next to the truth every day. 3 years. Aren't you very bearable? I clenched my fingers. She admitted. She finally admitted it herself. I looked at my father. How did my mother die? The father did not speak. Lin Wei sneered. She quarreled with her dad that day, and she was so emotional that she fell down the stairs. She could have been sent to the hospital earlier, but dad said that when she woke up, the Lin family would be over. My blood cooled down little by little. So you didn't save her? My father said angrily. Shut up. I looked at him. You didn't save her. His face twisted slightly. It's her own ignorance. She is going to ruin the Lin family. I took a step back. It turns out that this is the answer. It is not death from illness, not an accident. It was greed and indifference that killed her. I suppressed the choking in my throat. Aren't you a little afraid when you look at me all these years? My father looked at me coldly. I only regret not sending you away back then. This sentence is colder than any knife. Lin Wei stuffed the pen into my hand. Sign. Little fish. Haven't you always been very sensible? Finally, be sensible again. I looked down at the pen, then laughed. Are you done? Lin Wei was stunned. My father also frowned. I looked up. Just finished speaking. Lin Wei's face changed. What do you mean? I raised my hand and gently touched my collar. There was a very small tape recorder there. Lin Wei's eyes widened instantly. She pounced. Lin Yu. I stepped back. She grabbed my arm and pierced my skin with her nails. My father rushed over to grab the tape recorder. At this moment, the sound of cars came from outside the warehouse. Lin Wei panicked. Did you call the police? I looked at her. Yes. My father was so angry that he lost control. He raised his hand to hit me, but before his hand fell, a person rushed in at the door of the warehouse. Fu Min. He grabbed my father's wrist and pulled me behind him. My father struggled to pick up the iron rod next to him. Everything happened quickly. I only saw the iron rod fall. Fu Min stood in front of me. A dull sound. He was hit in the shoulder. H. He snorted, but didn't let go of my hand. My heart tightened. Fu Min. The police rushed in. The father was held down. Lin Wei screamed and wanted to run, but was also stopped. The warehouse was in chaos. Fu Min's face turned pale. His hand was still holding me. I held him up. Why did you come in? He looked at me in a low voice. I heard he was going to hit you. I said don't interfere. Not this time. A cold sweat broke out on his forehead. I looked at his pale face and felt an indescribable feeling in my heart for a moment. Not forgiveness. It's not a heartbeat. It's just that I finally saw that he would hurt too. The police took his father and Lin Wei away. Lawyer Zhou rushed in and confirmed that the recording was complete. The evidence is sufficient. All the evidence is sufficient. Fu Min was taken to the hospital. I followed. Outside the emergency room, I sat on a bench, and there were blood stains on my hands that Lin Wei had scratched. Lawyer Zhou treated my wounds. She said, Miss Lin, Your mother's case may need to be reinvestigated. I nodded. Check. Lin's asset freeze application can also be promoted. Advance. And divorce agreement. She said this and paused. I looked at the light in the emergency room. Advance too. Lawyer Zhou looked at me as if he wanted to say something. In the end, she just nodded. Fu Min's injury was not light. He had a cracked shoulder and needed to be hospitalized. When he woke up, it was already dawn. I sat on the edge of the hospital bed. He opened his eyes and saw me. And his eyes first relaxed. Then he wanted to sit up. I held him down. Don't move. His voice was hoarse. Are you hurt? Nothing serious. He saw the scratches on my arm and frowned. This is called no big deal. Lighter than you. He was silent for a moment. Lin Yu. I don't want you to stay with injuries. I looked at him. I know. He was stunned. I took out the divorce agreement from my bag, put it next to his bed. So sign now. The ward was quiet. Fu Min looked at the agreement. It didn't move for a long time. I said, Fu Min, you saved me. I thank you, but that doesn't change our marriage. He looked up at me. His eyes were very deep. I know. He picked up the pen. His right hand can still move. When he signed, his hand was very steady. The word Fu Min fell on the paper. I looked at the stroke. And there was no pain in my heart. It's just empty. It was like finally opening a door that had been closed for 3 years. The wind blows in, a little cold, but also free. Fu Min handed me the agreement. Lin Yu. This time, I won't stop you. I took the agreement. He said, I owe you what I owe. And I shouldn't pay it back with marriage. My eyes were slightly hot. I didn't cry. I just nodded. You finally understand. The divorce process was done quickly. Fu Min did not delay. The Fu family did not stop it. Mr. Fu called me personally. He said, Lin Yu. It's the Fu family who is sorry for you. I said, it's not the Fu family. It's Fu Min. There was silence on the other side of the phone. Then the old man sighed. You're right. On the day I got the divorce certificate, the weather was fine. I came out of the Civil Affairs Bureau. The sun fell on the steps. Fu Min stood beside me. We are no longer husband and wife. When this fact fell, I felt more complete. Fu Min took out a small box from his pocket. Open. Inside is the old wedding ring, the one engraved with Lin Weiss' name. I looked at it. Fu Min said, it doesn't deserve to stay with you. I took the box. Indeed. He asked, what do you want to do? I thought for a moment. Melt it down. That night, I went to the metalworking studio. The ring was put into the furnace. The fire rises. The metal slowly turns red, softens, and finally loses its original shape. Lin Weiss' name disappeared. That marriage also disappeared. Fu Min stood behind me. The fire was on his face. He said, Lin Yu, I will chase you again. I didn't look back. He said, but this time, you can refuse me. I looked at the light in the furnace. Fu Min. I don't want to love anyone now. He said, I know. I don't want to be arranged by anyone. I know. If you cross the line again, it'll get you out forever. Okay. I finally turned my head to look at him. He stood up straight. His face still pale after his illness, but the eyes are very serious. I looked at him, then start by not showing up at my door. He was stunned for a moment, then nod gently. Okay. I left the studio. The night wind blows. I thought it was finally over, but the next morning, I received a call from Lawyer Zhou. Her voice was very serious. Miss Lin. Lin Wei recanted her confession in the detention center. I frowned. What did she say? Lawyer Zhou said. She said that Fu Min was the one who forged evidence of the savior. She also said that Fu Min had long known that you were the one who really saved him. But he deliberately married you and tortured you. I clenched my phone. The sun was shining outside the window, but my heart was cold again. Lin Wei lost. But she also wanted to drag Fu Min into the mud. And this time, how will Fu Min prove himself? The news of Lin Weiss' confession quickly spread. She said that Fu Min had known the truth for a long time. Said that he married me to take revenge on the Lin family. It was a deliberate torture to say that he snubbed me for 3 years. This statement is absurd. But absurdity does not mean that no-one believes it. Because Fu Min did snub me. Because he really made me miserable for 3 years. Real harm gives room for lies to grow. The media surrounded Fu again. Someone asked Fu Min if he had known about it for a long time. Someone asked if the Fu family was involved in Lin's fraud. Someone asked me if I would sue Fu Min. I didn't respond immediately. Lawyer Zhou asked me, do you believe Lin Weiss' words? I sat in my office and looked out the window. This is the company left by my mother. I just got back in control. The company is in chaos. The accounts should be cleared. The team needs to be reorganized. Brands are to be re-registered. The reputation that has been damaged by the Lin family in the past few years must also be repaired little by little. I don't have much energy to be led by Lin Wei anymore. I said, I don't believe her. Lawyer Zhou looked at me. I continued, but I won't prove my innocence for Fu Min either. Why? Because it's his business. I closed the file. It's true that he hurt me in the last 3 years. Lin Wei slandered him. And it was true. The two things cannot be mixed. Lawyer Zhou nodded. You're sober. I smiled. It hurts. Fu Min didn't come to me. He didn't let me speak for him either. The next day, He held a press conference. I didn't go to the scene. I just watched the live stream. Fu Min stood in front of the camera, and his shoulder injury had not healed. His face was colder and thinner than before. The reporter asked him, Mr. Fu, Miss Lin Wei said that you have long known that Miss Lin Yu is a savior. Is it true? Fu Min replied, no. The reporter asked again, do you admit that you hurt Miss Lin Yu in your marriage? Fu Min was silent for a second. Then he said, admit it. The scene was quiet. He continued, I didn't know the truth sooner, but that doesn't make me innocent. During my 3 years of marriage, I snubbed her, ignored her, and let her suffer what she shouldn't have endured. It's my responsibility. The reporter asked, so you are saying this now to save her? Fu Min looked at the camera. I have no right to ask her to go back. His voice was steady. What I can do is cooperate with all investigations, disclose all evidence, and take responsibility for what I should bear. He then released the ring replacement record, the hospital investigation timeline, the private investigator's report, and evidence of Lin Weiss transfer to the staff. The evidence is complete. It is enough to prove that he is not the person behind Lin Weiss' mouth. But he did not package himself as a victim. His last words were, I used to believe in the wrong people and hurt those who shouldn't. The law will deal with Lin Weiss' lies. As for Lin Yu, I only owe her and don't ask for her forgiveness. After watching the live broadcast, I turned off my computer. It was quiet in the office. Assistant Xiao Qin stood at the door and asked carefully, Mr. Lin, are you okay? Mr. Lin. I was stunned for a moment when I heard this title. Then he nodded. I'm fine. I'm really good. Because I finally have my own name. Is no longer the second lady of the Lin family. No longer Mrs. Fu. Is no longer Lin Weiss' sister. I am Lin Yu. For the next 6 months, I hardly stopped. Lin was investigated. My father was formally prosecuted for economic crimes and for allegedly concealing the truth about my mother's death. My mother's case was refiled. Although much of the evidence has been too long, the recordings of the old warehouse that night, combined with old files, witnesses and medical records that were hidden back then, are enough to bring the truth back into the light. Lin Wei was also prosecuted. She forged documents, maliciously framed and participated in asset transfers. The aura she once cared about the most was shattered one by one. On the day of the first court session, I went. Lin Wei sat in the dock wearing gray clothes. She lost a lot of weight, no longer as delicate and weak as in the past. When she saw me, her eyes first turned resentful, and then turned into a very strange smile. Little fish. She called me. I looked at her and didn't respond. She said across the crowd, you won. You're happy, aren't you? I said, I didn't win. It's just that you should pay it back. Her face changed. You hate me so much. I don't hate you anymore. She was stunned. I looked at her. Hate you for wasting time. I still have a lot to do. This sentence made her feel worse than any scolding. She always wanted me to be trapped in hatred, like she was trapped in jealousy. But I want. After the trial, my stepmother came to me. She is much older. Without the resources of the Lin family, she is no longer as arrogant as she used to be. She stood at the door of the courthouse, her eyes red. Little fish. I stopped. She looked at me with a trembling voice. I know I'm wrong. I didn't speak. She continued. Over the years, I have been partial. I'm sorry for you. But after all, I have raised you for so many years. I looked at her. What do you want? Her face froze. I said, money, house, or let me help Lin Wei reduce her sentence. She burst into tears. How can you think of me like that? I said softly, because I know you. She cried even harder. Xiaoyu, I only have you now. In the past, if she said this, I might have relented. I want a home so much. I wanted to be hugged by her once, and she really called my daughter. But now, I just look at her calmly. You're not the only one. She looked up. I said, you still have yourself. She was stunned. I continued. Your life should not be maintained by continuing to suck my blood. Her face turned pale. I didn't stop any longer. Don't come to me again in the future. I turned and left. At that moment, I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel sad either. I just feel that the little girl who always wanted to be approved by her mother in the past was finally taken away by my own hands. She didn't have to stand there and wait anymore. Half a year later, my mother's brand was re-released. The name has not changed. I kept her logo from that year, just added a new subtitle, designed for those who choose themselves. The day before the press conference, Fu Min sent a document. Not flowers, not jewelry, not a luxury car. It is an overseas asset recovery report. The Lin family once transferred part of the income of my mother's brand. The path to that money is complicated. I searched for a long time and couldn't find out. Fu Min helped me find it. He didn't show up. Just asked the assistant to hand me the documents. The document ends with a card sandwiched between them. There is only one sentence on it. This is what your mother left you, not me. I looked at the card and felt very quiet. Xiao Chen whispered next to him. Mr. Lin. Mr. Fu really hasn't bothered you in the past 6 months. I nodded. He really didn't. He didn't block me. I didn't send anything to force me to collect it. I didn't use Fu to pave the way for me. Nor did he say ambiguous words in front of the media. He just found out the evidence he could find out in our It turned what he should pay back. Sometimes I leave the office late at night and see a car parked across the street. The car is far away. Don't get close. Don't disturb. I knew it was him. I also knew that as long as I didn't step forward, he wouldn't come. It's a belated respect. On the day of the press conference, many people came to the scene. I stood backstage and looked at myself in the mirror. I was wearing a white suit with my hair pulled up. He wore the small fish brooch on his chest. Lawyer Zhou came over. Are you ready? I nodded. Ready. When the lights came on, I walked onto the stage. Applause rang out from the audience. I saw Fu Min sitting in the last row. He didn't sit in the VIP seat, nor did anyone pay attention to him. He just looked at me quietly. Our eyes met briefly. He nodded at me. I retracted my gaze and began to speak. I talked about my mouth. Speaking of this brand, talk about what I once lost. Also talk about starting over. Finally, I looked at the audience. For a long time, I thought that being chosen was happiness. Later I realized that true happiness is something I can choose. Applause rang out. At that moment, I didn't look at Fu Min, not because I'm still running away, but because this time, the stage belongs to me. The launch was a success. The Mother's brand re-entered the market. Orders exceed expectations. The media reviews are also very good. That night, I was busy late into the night. When he left the venue, Fu Min was still outside. He stood under a street lamp and was wearing a dark coat. It's already early winter. The wind is cold. I walked over. Have you been waiting for a long time? He said. It's okay. Something. He looked at me with a deep restraint in his eyes. I want to congratulate you. Thank you. He didn't speak again. I looked at him. Is there anything else? Fu Min was silent for a few seconds and took out a very thin folder from his coat pocket. This is for you. I took it. Open. Not a contract. It is also not an asset report. Is a list of apologies. The first page reads, First, I didn't explain my true thoughts to you before the marriage began, so that you could enter an unfair relationship. Followed by the remedy. I have publicly admitted and assumed relevant public opinion and legal responsibility. Article 2. I have ignored your feelings for 3 years and taken your quietness for granted. Article 3. I didn't check the ring and didn't find any ongoing injuries around you. Article 4. I put the obsession of the past before you and did not treat you as an independent person. One by one. Many pages. At the end of each item, it is written what he has done, or what he is still doing. I turn to the last page. It reads, I don't ask you to go back in time. I just want to know you in the right way in the future. I close the folder. Fu Min. Do you love me now because of guilt, or because I was the one who saved you back then? He did not answer immediately. He looked at me as if he was serious about making every word clear. At first, it was guilt. He said, when I know the truth, I am in pain. I regret it and I am afraid. I thought I wanted to get you back because I finally knew that you were the one who saved me. I didn't interrupt him. He continued. Later I found out. No, Lin Yu. I missed the little girl who saved me, but what I fell in love with was you standing in front of me now. The wind blew over and lifted the corner of his clothes. His voice was low. Not the daughter of the Lin family. Not Mrs. Fu. Not a savior. It's you. We'll calmly fight back. We'll sort out the evidence until the early hours of the morning, and we'll say on stage that he can choose you. My heart moved slightly, very light, not enough to make me turn back immediately, but enough for me to admit. I heard. I looked at him. Fu Min. I won't believe you right away. He said. I know. I won't forget the past 3 years just because you're doing well now. I know. I can give you a chance. His eyes were shocked. I said, 1 year. He looked at me. For a year. You can't interfere with my career. You can't make decisions for me. And you can't use the power of the Fu family to suppress me. You can only get close to me like an ordinary suitor. The bottom of his eyes slowly lit up. Okay, I can stop at any time. Okay, I don't guarantee results that I know. I looked at him. Then start tomorrow. He said, isn't it okay tonight? I raised my eyebrows. Fu Min immediately said, I'm just asking. I couldn't help but laugh. Very shallow, but he saw it. His eyes suddenly became very soft. That year, Fu Min really didn't cross the line. He would ask me out for dinner, but when I refused, he wouldn't ask. He will send me messages, but when I'm busy, he won't rush me in a row. He would alert me to the weather when I was on a business trip, but he wouldn't send anyone to follow me. He began to learn to ask me instead of deciding for me. Once, my company experienced a supplier default. Fuss legal affairs can be resolved quickly, but Fu Min just sent a sentence. Do you need me to provide resources? If you don't need to, I won't interfere. I looked at the message and replied, no need. He replied, okay, you can fix it. At that moment, I suddenly understood. Respect is not far away. Respect is that he has the ability to intervene, but he is willing to wait for me to speak. A year later, the brand's anniversary conference. I stood on the stage and announced the official launch of the overseas line. The audience applauded warmly. I no longer have to prove myself by anyone's last name. After the press conference, Fu Min waited for me backstage. He was wearing a black suit and holding a small box in his hand. I saw the box and stopped. Fu Min. I know, it may be too early, he said. Then you still take it out. He lowered his head and smiled. Because I've been waiting for a year. And I want you to know that I want to wait longer. He opened the box. Inside is a ring. It's simple. There are no complex diamonds. There is only a small fish-shaped pattern. I didn't reach out. He took out the ring and handed it to me. You can just take a look. I took it. 2 words are engraved on inside of the ring. Forest fish. Only forest fish. No one else. There are no lies. There is no substitution. I looked at those 2 words, and my heart suddenly became very quiet. Fu Min said, "This ring does not mean that you have to marry me. It is just a representation. And I finally learned to see only you." I looked up at him. Fu Min, I won't be the same Mrs. Fu again. I don't want that marriage either. If I wear it one day, it's not because you chased me back. He said, I know. I looked at him and said word by word, "It's because I chose you." Fu Min's eyes were slightly red. His voice was very soft. "This is already the best answer I can think of." I looked down at the ring. Then, I slowly put it back in the box. Fu Min's eyes darkened for a moment. I smiled. "I don't wear it today." He was stunned. I said, "But you can ask me out for dinner tomorrow." His eyes lit up again. "What do you want to eat? You choose." He paused, as if he was very cautious. "Can I choose?" "Yes." "Then I'll choose a quiet restaurant. You don't like to be too noisy." I looked at him. "You remember it now?" He said seriously. "I remember it before, but I didn't do it well." I didn't speak again. We walked out of the venue together. The sun was nice outside. I suddenly remembered that 3 years ago, when I walked into the Fu family, I was wearing a ring that didn't belong to me. At that time, I thought that marriage would give me a home. Then I lost that ring and that wrong home. But I got my mother's brand back. Got his name back. The right to choose was regained. Fu Min walked beside me. This time, he didn't hold my hand. He just didn't go far. Wait for me to come closer. I looked ahead. The wind blows. Not cold. I know. The story is not over yet. But I'm not afraid anymore. Because this time, I was not taken away by anyone. Nor was it left by anyone. I only choose myself. If I love someone, it is also after I am complete. Fu Min asked softly, "Lin Yu, is it okay to be at 7 o'clock tomorrow night?" I stopped and looked at him. Then I nodded. "Yes." He laughed. "It's light, but it's real." I laughed too. This is not a return to the past. This is a new beginning.